here in Phoenix, Arizona. I got Jonathan Brunasso here with me. Talk about solar, how that impacts you in the desert living. Jonathan, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit about your background. I know you're a solar salesperson, but how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm like, wait a second, let me think about that. I did grow up in Southern California. I have a lot of friends and families and colleagues in Arizona. And I was in the sales and management world, Verizon Wireless, Best Buy. I went to Cal Poly Pomona, and I did my graduate degree there. And then eventually someone said, hey, there's this Solar City company, like Elon Musk company, and you should check it out. They're doing pretty cool things for homeowners and for the environment. So caught my attention, took my sales background, my business background, and started selling a ton of solar with Solar City. About 6 years ago is when I got into the industry, and I really liked it. Solar City kind of got bought out by Tesla and had a little bit of a shakedown, and so I tried my hand at a private dealer and real estate for a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? I really want to get back into solar full time again. So I joined up with Sunrun Corporate, did extremely well there, and branched out as an independent broker consultant now with a company called Powur and a company with Freedom Forever would be the other company as well. So 2 different companies doing solar across the country, have an organization of about 115 people spread out across the country, and had my best month ever last month of May. So it's a great time for solar and for the planet and renewable energy.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, especially given all the turmoil and pandemic that we've been going through, to have your best month ever. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell me a little bit about what you sell. I mean, every solar salesperson I've ever talked to has just a little bit different focus or niche or products. What do you have to offer that's different than everybody else?
Yeah, I'd say one of my differentiators is that I do have 2 unique options to offer. With my company, Powur, they are a nationwide company, been around since 2014. They have some really cool tools and promotions that I can offer. So, for example, they have a 30-year extended warranty through Solar Insure, parts, equipment, labor, and roof for 30 years. I'm able to layer that on top of Powur's standard warranties. And we generally use the installer in Arizona and Nevada called Titan. So they are a really big respected outfit. And I'm able to really offer great pricing, great equipment, aggressive interest rates. For example, 20-year to 25-year, 2.99. Maybe someone wants a 10-year, 2.49. So they really give me all the tools in the wheelhouse, all the tools on my belt to be able to offer and craft a solution for someone that is really a differentiator. And been doing this so long, that's why I want to be with a company that I have those tools with, so that when I do come across competition or just helping friends and family and clients and referrals, I want to give them the best solution up front. So
I want to circle back to that 30-year warranty. I don't hear a lot of people talk about that. The 30-year warranty equipment, is there a production guarantee on that as well, or is that just strictly off of
Yeah, so generally speaking, in the purchase or finance ownership world for solar, right? Because we do have a lease PPA option as well that I can talk about, but the purchase finance option, for the most part, most companies don't have a production guarantee, at least anymore. And what I mean by production guarantee is if it doesn't hit certain milestones every 2 years, there's potentially a rebate check back. And if a company does have something like that, you might want to look at the fine print, like within a week of the anniversary, you have to notify them, otherwise you lose out. So, but with purchase and finance, the only linear performance guarantee is tied to the manufacturer's warranty of the actual solar panel. So for example, like a Hanwha panel or an LG panel, they have 25-year linear performance, power output in the manufacturer's warranty. And generally in year 25, you may have something to the tune of 84 to 86% guarantee. So they do allow a slight decrease in production. Generally about 0.5 to 0.7% per year is a pretty good industry average.
Well, now talk about that roof warranty, because that's something I have never heard of.
Yeah.
Or 30-year roof warranty. How does that work?
Yeah, so it's through a company called solarinsure.com. You could check them out. They're a A-plus backed company, and they do extend warranties for the equipment, parts, and labor for the full 30. But then the roof specifically, it's a little more specific. It's the penetrations and the footings by the penetrations only. And it does not go, it does not cover underneath the roof as well. So it's just to repair that localized area in the event that in the 30 years there is an issue right there.
Well, that's where you're going to have a leak if you do have any problems.
Yeah, exactly. So, Powur and Titan, they give like a standard 10-year roof penetration warranty, which is pretty standard in the industry. So any leak or damage as a result in the 10 years is covered, but the 30-year extended blankets over that. It just doesn't cover the damage resulting from the leak, but it'll repair the localized leak.
So you said that covers equipment, parts, and labor. So if the inverter goes out after 8 years, we'll replace it?
That is correct. Mm-hmm.
Wow. What does something like that cost, ballpark? I'm sure it probably varies, different variables that go into it, but.
So I'm normally able to package it into my proposal and include it, if you will, and be very competitive or beat a lot of competitors' prices packaging it in. But to be frank, it's generally 6 to 8 cents per watt. So on a 10 kilowatt system, obviously that's going to be somewhere to the tune of $700-800 adder.
Okay.
And then of course you could get the tax credit off of that as well.
Nice. So tell me more about what you do. When you're dealing with customers, what kind of customers do you like to work with? Are you focused more on those that want to save the environment, all of the above, or who's your ideal customer?
Yeah, over 6 years, I've helped hundreds of families from every reason to 104 years old to 20 years old, to environment purely, to saving purely, to cash, to finance. I mean, I really don't have an ideal customer. I just enjoy connecting with people, homeowners, families. They get that renewable energy is the future. They get that the tax credit's going away. They get that energy is going up. When they connect with the heart, like, I know this is right for the environment. I know that we should get off the grid or get off dirty power. That's really rewarding for me. And obviously saving them money or locking in their costs for years and years is also very rewarding. So just helping out a great family, a great homeowner, great individual that sees the reason why. And if I'm in their home or if I'm doing a Zoom with them, they probably already get it. So.
Who is a good customer for solar?
Sure, an ideal
customer. A little different question there, I understand.
Yeah. An ideal customer is going to be a big home, 2,000, 3,000 square feet, because you have more space to provide electricity to. You have more space to heat or cool off. A lot of my customers might have a swimming pool. A lot of customers might have a 2-story home or vaulted ceiling that takes forever to cool off in the summertime. They may have an electric vehicle or plug-in vehicle. These are all just common things of essentially a higher bill, right? If your bill's over 100, 200, 300 in the summer, you're probably scratching your head going, why am I spending $3 to $4 grand a year and that's going up and I'm not having any return on my investment? So those are the ideal customers, yeah.
Okay. You find more customers going with ownership nowadays versus leasing? We don't do PPA here in Arizona, but
yeah. So in Arizona, through a company called Freedom Forever, I'm a Sunrun Certified Partner. So I can offer a Sunrun lease in Arizona, for a very aggressive price because Freedom is the #1 dealer for Sunrun. And Sunrun does have a good lease product. And I went off on a tangent there because you were asking about purchase.
Well, I mean, do you find more people going with purchases versus leases? Or do you find more people going with leases versus purchases?
Right. Yeah, so about 90% of my clients go with purchase or finance.
Okay.
Out of the 29 deals that I did personally last month, which is my highest ever, I want to say 5 or 6 of those were leases. And then the majority are finance. And then I had about 4 or 5 cash. So.
Now, why are people going with leases? At least what are the reasons you see people going with leases over ownership?
Yeah. So with a lease, let's say you don't have a tax liability or you're retired, your tax liability is this small, you don't really pay much in taxes. And so a $9,000 federal tax credit may not benefit you anytime soon. So that would make the purchase more expensive if you can't benefit from a tax credit. So that's a person that would maybe opt for a lease. And another reason that someone may like a lease is because in their mind, they think if I buy, I have to take care of it. That's a common misunderstanding, right? Because we just covered a 30-year warranty. So that's someone that's thinking, I just want them to take care of it. I want them to handle it. I do want to have a production guarantee every 2 years. If it doesn't produce this number, I know I get a check. I know that they're going to come out and take care of it for 25 years, bumper to bumper. They're going to insure it. They're going to install it. And so it's that customer. And then another reason would be they potentially don't want any loan on their credit report, and they don't want debt to finance a solar system, or they don't have the cash to pay up front for it. So with a lease, you just need a 650 FICO and you can have a solar system on your roof. I just did one in Arizona because we locked in the price for 25 years with a Sunrun lease at like 11 cents a kilowatt hour. And he was not very fond of a loan, didn't want the debt, and he was just like, just give me the lease. My neighbor across the street went with the lease, so I'm just going to go with the lease.
Well, especially if you lock it in at 11 cents for 25 years, that's not a bad deal, given how we see, a 3% increase roughly, year over year in utility costs, especially here in APS territory. So, nice.
Exactly, yeah. And he's from SoCal. We're Facebook friends. He's a pastor. He lives in Buckeye, Arizona, and he connected with me on Facebook. And it just, to give someone 11 cents for a click of a button, guaranteed. If I did tell him the finance is going to be a better option because it's the same monthly, if not a hair lower, depending on the term, and you're going to add some value. But he opted for the lease like his neighbor did.
Thanks. So what is the process you take somebody through? Somebody calls you up. I would like solar. What is the pre-qualification process that you walk them through, A, to make sure that they're a good candidate for solar, but B, to kind of come up with the right size of system and the right components that best suit their needs? Walk us through that process.
Yeah, sure. It's pretty simple. I really like to get a utility bill and or the last 12 months kilowatt hour usage, right? That's how much energy your house is using. So higher in the summer, lower in the winter sometimes. We figure out that number, call it 12,000 kilowatt hours per year. And I get to see your 12 months. And within a day, I'll have a proposal drawn up with a schematic of your roof, where the panels would go, why they should go here, how much energy it will produce, what my price options are. We'll do a Zoom call like this, and I'll say, here's your purchase with your finance options, or here's your lease. Which one makes more sense to you? You said you were going to maybe add a jacuzzi. Okay, is an electric vehicle something you're thinking about? Is little Johnny going off to college next year? Okay, so maybe we should add 1 or 2 more panels then to accommodate some of that usage. And then let's go with this option. So if you don't have 12 months of historical usage, then I can do some calculations based off of questions, home criteria, and square footage and things like that. So,
is there anybody who is not a good candidate for solar?
if you are selling your home in the next few years, maybe 2 or 3 years, it may not make sense for you. It may be a little bit of a challenge to sell, depending on which option you go with. There may not be that return on investment. It would really be purely just, I'm going to help the environment no matter what, even if I lose a few thousand. So if you're selling, may not be a good bet if you're moving in the next 2-3 years. If you have tons and tons of trees and shade, that may not work. Some roof types, depending on the age, we have to check the quality. If you need a new roof first, we'll let you know that. So that could be an added cost that will help absorb, and you could potentially have some tax credit savings off of those roofing costs. And then if it's just a granny living alone, or a single working person and they're never home and they're only using $50 of energy per month, almost like a condo, if you will, the economics there may or may not make sense for them. It depends on what the reasons why they want to go solar, but it may not make sense for that.
Where do you see that savings being beneficial on a monthly bill, on a monthly basis? And you're just saying if you're only spending $50 a month on electricity, not a lot of savings. What kind of bills or what kind of savings do you like to see? Before you recommend somebody go into solar?
I would say if you add up all your 12 months, right? Higher in the summer, lower in the winter. If you're in the 100 to 150 average, right? Maybe your winters are 80, maybe your summers are 300. That's a very typical customer for me. So I would say an average of 100 to 150 is a very ideal candidate. Anything higher than that, it just makes sense faster and faster.
Let's talk a little bit about future trends. I mean, it seems like every day there's something new, some kind of news bite, new trend, new product, new gadget, new gizmo that solar people are selling. Or is there anything out there that you are excited about that you see coming on the horizon that will be a nice fit with solar, whether it's battery backup or higher efficiencies or different inverters, whatever that may be?
Right. Yeah. Solar for the most part is a similar size panel. It's been around since the 60s, and they just get stronger and stronger. So I always tell people, well, if you wait 5 years, today you need 20 panels, then you might need 15 panels. So the panels themselves, people think they get smaller and stuff like this, but they just get stronger. So panels are panels. The black on black panels, I love the way they look. Aesthetically, they look very good. They don't have the blue and silver and white borders and backgrounds like they used to. But new and exciting products. The battery is definitely one of them. And the future of these roof shingle tiles that people keep talking about, I think it's years off. But in 4 or 5 years, if that is something in my tool belt that I can offer for people that need new roofs plus solar concurrently, that would be neat. But batteries, I guess I could speak to. That's really the only new thing for us. What's exciting about it is batteries generally provide backup during a blackout. And we're seeing more and more blackouts, right? Everywhere. California especially, the fires, PG&E shutting people off for days and days. It's scary. And, Edison and PG&E, they admit to knowing their towers were sparking and they caused fires. PG&E pleaded guilty to murder. This is serious stuff. This is why I do what I do, to get people onto renewable energy. And I get passionate about this topic. So batteries, backup protection, blackout protection. I have a client that texts me a picture of his fridge with the light on when the house is pitch black and his beer is still cold. And he's like, yes, I still have my cold food. My food's not spoiling. And the battery at this time is more of a heart feel. It's more of a safety and security and family feel. It may not have a direct ROI within the first 10 years, but it's definitely more of a safe security. So as we're seeing more and more batteries get adopted in certain areas, that means that the grid no longer needs that backup coal plant that needs to be tested and in operation and create some dirty power, because if the grid is maxed out, they can lend on the batteries temporarily and then repay them for that. So that's pretty exciting to me. The fact that as we're seeing more and more batteries, we're almost creating these micro grids with some solar. We're not using the grid as much. That's pretty cool. That's really exciting. And then the battery, the second thing the battery does, I could talk on this all day. The second thing the battery does is it does something called load shifting. So it can actually send back a few kilowatt hours to the grid at a peak time, for example, 4 p.m., earning you a higher credit. So intuitively, a lot of people are like, well, I want to use my energy from my battery. Well, let's think about that for a second. If your battery's giving back a few kilowatt hours at the peak time every day, earning you the highest credit, whether you're home or whether you're not home, isn't that in your best interest? And you can just take energy from the grid at any time that's convenient for you. So that, in my opinion, the best utilization of the battery is backup and load shifting. It's not naturally how people think of the battery, but it is the best utilization of the battery, in my opinion.
Well, especially with some of the newer rate plans coming out around the country where we get time of use with demand features, that makes perfect sense. Having that where you can lower that demand charge, or possibly even reduce it completely zero if possible.
Right.
Any other technologies out there you see coming on the horizon that we should be watching? I like the idea of the shingles. I'm excited for that one as well. I think that'll really change a lot of people's minds who are worried about the aesthetics of solar. Of course, for me, I like solar. I like it on the roof. I see it, I get excited. Yeah. But I know a few people prefer it to be on the backside, out of the view of sight, or whatever they want there. But
right.
Any other trends you see coming in the future?
It's been pretty standard stuff, honestly, like the solar edge inverter versus the micro N-phase inverters. They're coming out with some new inverters with batteries or EV charger built in. Nothing too exciting there. I think the technology is good. I think the online monitoring with cellular technology is good. All these standard things, really. I see the
standard now. I mean, you go back a couple years,
right?
They weren't even
amazing things, but I'm so used to it that it's pretty standard for me. So on the horizon, the shingles, I guess, would be the only really thing that stands out to me. And Tesla announced it years and years ago when they were trying to get shareholders to acquire Solar City, and there was a little bit of a persuasion there, and they've maybe installed a handful, and I think your roof has to be like 2 sides. If you have a tricky roof, it may be not even possible. And at this time, I think it's 70, 80, 90,000, someone that needs a true roof plus solar. My concerns for my clients is going to be longevity, repairs, warranties, who's getting up there taking care of it. Is it going to produce what this estimated number is that they're talking about for such new technology? Is there going to be a tax credit even around by the thing this thing becomes like mass market? So I have a few concerns, but I do definitely see in 5 years, maybe, that's my best estimate, that I can offer a customer a $60,000 whole home re-roof that includes solar, something to that tune. But for the time being, in the foreseeable next 2-3 years, my mind is getting through this tax credit that's 22% this year. 26% this year, 22% next year, and potentially gone. And solar panel cost is dropping. So I think we'll be okay as we hit that junction. But my mind is really laser focused these next 3 years. I think the adoption of solar is just doing this right now. So.
Well, I mean, if you could buy your electricity at a cheaper rate, why wouldn't you? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Why pay retail for something that you don't have to?
Yeah, and it's being adopted very quick, and the utility's losing a little money every time someone potentially goes solar. Now, as electric cars, I think, increase, the overall demand of electricity will also increase. So even though we're adopting solar with electric vehicle demand, I think that will just help offset the demand. And one other thing to add, a lot of utilities are still on a tier plan. And if you go solar right now, you could potentially keep that tier plan. Most utilities, though, if you go solar, you will have to adopt the new time of use rate structure. And the second piece to this is net metering, the thing that makes the economics of solar work, the ability to put energy back into the grid during the day and take some back at night. Those are limited incentives. So once the utility hits a certain cap of people that have gone solar, they can say, okay, anyone else that goes solar, now the net metering's cut in half. That credit's cut in half.
We don't even have that here in Phoenix anymore.
Right, like Hawaii doesn't have net metering anymore, or San Diego, SDG&E territory, one of the most expensive in the country. Their net metering buyback is not as high, and their time of use is very niche to help them offset some of those costs. So the net metering and the tax credit, just to reemphasize, is these are limited things here in the next 2 years.
Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time today. Can you, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you? Whether it's phone, email, website, Facebook, whatever.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Robin, I appreciate you having me on. I mean, I can tell you're an all-star real estate agent. You take care of your clients. You offer value. You go above and beyond. You seek out other good professionals that you trust. And so I just want to say a big thank you, shout out for you having me on here. If you just kind of Google or Facebook search my name, Jon, Jon Brunasso, Brunasso. I have a Facebook business page. You'll find me all over Google too if you just Google me. And then, my cell phone number is 909-964-9632. You can text
Say that one more time just so we have that.
Yeah, it's 909-964-9632. So you can call or text, and I'm sure you'll provide my business card or a link to my site in the comments or in the email as well. So big thank you for anyone that supports renewable energy as we adopt solar and keep helping clients and happy homeowners and help the planet.
Jonathan, thank you very much. Have a great day in the meantime.
Thank you, Rob.